Sophia didn't blink. The security footage on her laptop looped the same 10 seconds over and over. At 2:12 p.m. on a quiet Wednesday, two figures stepped into the frame. The first was Cynthia, Mary's only other surviving child, wearing a pearl necklace and a rehearsed smile. Behind her, a stranger clutched a clipboard. No official badge, just a cheap suit and a fistful of paper. The timestamp in the corner read, Wed 2:12 p.m., 3 days before Mary died.
22 minutes alone with her. 22 minutes to change everything.
The hallway camera didn't blink. It recorded every step, every gesture, every minute of that unauthorized visit. And when the new will surfaced, naming Cynthia as the sole heir, Sophia already had the evidence. The fight for the truth would begin, but the camera had already seen everything. But to understand what the camera caught, you have to go back 4 years, to every Sunday afternoon. Sophia never missed a visit. Rain or shine, she walked through those doors at 3 o'clock. The sign-in log became a diary of devotion. Sophia, room 117, week after week.
Hi, Grandma. I brought you fresh lavender from the garden. Smells like summer, doesn't it?
Mary couldn't speak after the stroke, but her eyes followed Sophia's every move. She was still in there.
Cynthia hasn't been here in months. Not since she asked about the house appraisals.
Cynthia was the absent daughter, always a reason. A client dinner, a vacation, a sudden headache.
Mom says she'll come Tuesday. She's been so tired, but she loves you more than words. Laura signs the log too, always with a shaky hand. Cynthia's name appears nowhere.
That was the quiet rhythm of Mary's life, until 3 days before the end, when Cynthia suddenly found a reason to show up. On Wednesday afternoon, Cynthia walked into Sunridge with a stranger and a clipboard, introducing him as her notary.
This is Mr. Miller. He's here to notarize a document Mother requested. We won't be long.
The man scribbled David Miller in the visitor log, his handwriting jerky and uncertain, no license number listed. Then they disappeared down the hall, the security camera tracking their every step.
Mother, just sign right here. It's what you wanted, remember?
22 minutes later, they emerged, the clipboard held tighter to his chest. 3 days after that visit, Mary passed. The funeral came and went. And then Cynthia called a family meeting. She held up a manila envelope as if it were a winning lottery ticket.
Mother signed a new will. Everything comes to me. The original must have been an old draft.
An old draft? The original will that Mom and I both saw, that Mary updated only 2 years ago.
Laura stood frozen at the back of the viewing room, her hands gripping the wooden pew tight.
New will? That's not possible. She updated everything 2 years ago. The original is in her box at Independence Security.
Then the box must be empty now. Mother called me upset. Wanted everything settled her way. I just honored her final wish.
Honored her final wish by bringing a stranger with a clipboard 3 days before she died.
That evening, Laura sat in her kitchen, tea untouched. The bank had told her the safety deposit box hadn't been opened in months.
We're not going to let her get away with this. Sunridge has cameras in every hallway. I'll request the footage.
But she's your aunt, Sophia. She'll say we're tearing the family apart.
The family was already torn the moment she walked into that facility with a fake notary.
By midnight, Sophia sat at her laptop, drafting a formal request to the facility director for all security recordings and visitor logs from Wednesday. She hit send before she could second guess. The machine had to be set in motion. The next morning, Sophia's phone buzzed. The facility director was calling back.
Miss Reed, this is Beverly Hartwell at Sunridge. Your request for Wednesday's recordings is delicate. We have strict privacy protocols.
I know, Miss Hartwell, but a will was changed under questionable circumstances, and that hallway is the only witness.
There was a long pause on the line, then the sound of a keyboard clicking.
I can see you are a verified family contact. I'll review the footage myself first, then send a secure link. 1 hour.
She's protecting the facility as much as she's helping me, but I'll take it.
Sophia drove back to her apartment and waited. Exactly 62 minutes later, An email notification appeared. The subject line read, Secure download, hallway camera 3, WED 14 o'clock, 15 o'clock. Below it, a link and a password.
This is it. Whatever Cynthia did in that room, the camera is about to tell me.
She clicked the link. The download bar began to fill, pixel by pixel. When the file finished downloading, Sophia opened it in a video player and extended the timeline to fill the screen. She dragged the playhead to 2:08 p.m. The hallway was empty, fluorescent lights humming in silence. Then, at 2:12, motion. Cynthia appeared first, confident but glancing back. Behind her, the man with the clipboard walked stiffly as if counting steps.
That isn't a notary. That's a man who's been told what to do and is terrified of getting caught.
She freeze-framed the moment he faced the camera. His suit didn't fit. His shoes were scuffed. No official notary seal visible on his bag. Next, she pulled up the visitor log, scanned it alongside the footage. David Miller was the only entry without a license number.
Cynthia said, Mr. Miller. But the log just says David Miller. No title, no commission ID, not even a business card.
She cross-referenced the log entry time against the footage. He signed at 2:15, exactly when Cynthia was sweet-talking the receptionist.
Did she plan even that? Distract the desk so he could scribble any name without being questioned.
Sophia closed the laptop and rubbed her eyes. She had more than suspicion. She had the contour of a fraud, but she needed the final piece, a state registry search. She reopened the laptop and navigated to the state's notary public registry. The website was plain, official, and unforgiving.
David Miller. Nothing else. Just the name she gave to the log. Let's see if you exist in the eyes of the law.
She typed the name exactly as it appeared in the visitor log, selected the county from the entry, and pressed enter. The screen refreshed to a single line, highlighted in pale red, no active commission found.
No active commission. So David Miller is a phantom. The man who witnessed the last will isn't a notary at all.
She clicked print and listened to the machine whir in the quiet room. The paper slid out, warm and final.
This breaks the entire document. Without a valid notary, the will is worthless.
She laid the printout beside the footage stills and the visitor log. 3 separate sources, all pointing to the same truth.
Cynthia brought a fake notary into Mary's room 3 days before she died. That's not a family feud anymore. That's a crime.
The notary was fake. The next step was to find out who he really was and how far Cynthia would go to keep the secret.
Mom, you need to see this. I found the proof. David Miller doesn't exist in any notary registry.
Show me everything.
Sophia spread the printouts across the table. The registry hit, the time-stamped stills, the shaky signature. Laura's hand trembled as she touched the log.
She brought a stranger to Mother's bedside and made her sign. We have to face her.
30 minutes later, they stood in Cynthia's immaculate living room, the envelope of evidence held tight against Sophia's chest.
The notary you brought on Wednesday isn't registered. There's no license, no commission. The will is fake.
Not registered? Oh, please. He's retired. That's why the database couldn't find him. You are just desperate for a cut. You want to tear this family apart over paperwork. Fine, but you'll lose, and everyone will know you tried to steal my inheritance.
No, Cynthia. You already tore it apart the moment you walked into her room with a liar.
Cynthia slammed the door behind them, but before the lock clicked, she fired off a text that glowed on Sophia's phone. This isn't over. The next morning, Sophia and Laura walked into the law offices of Delaney and Associates, a folder of evidence pressed against Sophia's chest.
I am scared, Sophia. What if we lose everything?
We've already lost Grandma. Cynthia can't take what's left.
Mrs. Reed, Miss Reed, please come in. Your email attachments were quite detailed.
The USB has the footage, the visitor log, and the notary registry printout. Everything is there.
He took the drive and inserted it into his desktop. The hallway footage filled the monitor, time-stamped glaring.
The notary's lack of commission is fatal to the will. I can file a petition to invalidate by noon.
And if the court throws out this will, Where does the estate go?
That requires the original will, and we don't know where it is yet. One step at a time.
When they left the office, the petition was filed. Cynthia had 3 days to respond. The real battle had just begun. With the petition filed, Mr. Delaney moved fast. He subpoenaed Sunridge for the full visitor log and raw footage, then hired a private investigator. The PI had one job: trace the man who signed David Miller in the log. He started with the blurry still from the security footage. Within 2 days, he matched the face to a DMV photo. Mark Reeves, age 42, current address matching Cynthia's. He was her live-in boyfriend.
Mark, her boyfriend. Not a notary, a man she brought to lie at a dying woman's bedside.
Mark had no commission, no legal training. He'd worked a series of odd jobs and had a petty theft charge from a decade earlier. Delaney dispatched a process server. When Mark opened his apartment door and saw the subpoena, his face drained of color.
I didn't forge anything. She told me it was just a family document she needed witnessed. I didn't know it was illegal.
The server noted his statement. The fraud was now undeniable, and a criminal conspiracy was emerging. Delaney called Sophia that evening. The fake notary has a name: Mark Reeves, Cynthia's boyfriend. This is no longer just probate. The case had shifted from a family dispute to a criminal matter. Cynthia had built her inheritance on her boyfriend's forged signature. Cynthia's messages filled the screen. "You are tearing the family apart. Mom would hate this. Withdraw, or I'll sue you both."
She called me 3 times, Sophia. She says we're ruining her life. Maybe we should just let the will stand.
And let her steal from Mary's own grandchildren. She used her boyfriend to forge a signature. That's not a will. That's fraud.
You think the judge will care about some dusty logbook? I'll tell everyone you sued me on your grandmother's deathbed.
She'll poison everyone against us. I can't lose my sister too, Sophia. Maybe we should just walk away.
You already lost her the moment she brought a liar to Mary's bedside. She's not family anymore. She's a criminal.
Then you've chosen war. Don't come crying when you are buried in legal fees and regret.
I am scared, Sophia. I don't know if I am strong enough for this.
She's breaking Mom. But if we stop now, Cynthia wins. Mary's true wishes stay buried forever.
That night, Sophia called Delaney with one instruction: keep pushing, no matter what she says. A text from Miss Hartwell appeared. "Miss Reed, in reviewing Mary's file, I found a record of a safety deposit box at Independence Security Bank, Box 1287. Thought you should know."
Box 1287. That's exactly what Mom mentioned at the funeral. The bank said it hasn't been opened in months. Mom, the bank box still exists. Cynthia lied. I am going to the facility to get Mary's things. There might be a key.
You mean Mother's real will could still be inside? Oh, thank God. Hurry, Sophia.
Within the hour, Sophia stood in Mary's room, sifting through the small box of personal effects the facility had held for her.
An envelope marked bank key, still sealed. She never let it out of her sight.
Inside was a small brass safety deposit key, engraved with a single number, 1287.
We need to go to the bank. Now, before Cynthia realizes we've found it.
This key is Mary's last instruction. Whatever is in that box, it's what she wanted us to have.
They drove straight to Independence Security Bank. The key, a promise of the truth Mary intended them to find. They arrived at Independence Security Bank as the afternoon light slanted through the frosted windows. The vault door was already open, and a clerk with a ledger nodded them toward Box 1287.
Box 1287. This is where Mary hid the truth from Cynthia.
Laura's hand trembled as she slid the key into the lock. It clicked with a dry, satisfying sound, and the long metal drawer slid out. Inside, resting on a bed of old bank receipts, lay a single yellowed envelope, sealed with red wax. Mary's handwriting, unmistakable, spelled out, "Last will and testament."
Mom, it's here. She kept it safe from Cynthia.
Open it. I need to hear her words.
Sophia broke the seal. The paper was crisp, folded in thirds, dated 2 years before the stroke. Mary had planned this. The key clause, 9 lines down. I give my entire estate to be divided equally between my daughter Laura Elaine and my grandchildren, per stirps. My daughter Cynthia Maria shall receive nothing.
Cynthia isn't just cut out. Mary actively chose her children over her. She saw her.
The real will was in their hands, and it undid every lie Cynthia had ever told. 3 days later, the probate courtroom was packed with anxious family as Mr. Delaney held up the sealed envelope.
Your Honor, this is Mary's original will. It was lawfully executed and reflects her true intent.
The judge examined the aged paper, carefully comparing it to the flimsy copy Cynthia had submitted. Cynthia shifted in her seat, her lawyer avoiding eye contact. The fraud was unraveling. The judge gavelled once, then declared the forged will invalid. The estate would follow Mary's real wishes.
You can't do this. My mother was coerced. She changed her mind at the end.
But her protests were hollow. The room had already seen Mary's handwriting, the notary seal, the truth.
The court will now follow the true will. Laura receives half, and Cynthia's children split the remainder.
Mary hid the key in her bedside drawer, far from Cynthia's reach. She knew.
With the ruling entered, the forged will was officially void. The clerk stamped the record, and the truth stood. The ink on the order was barely dry when Mr. Delaney stood again, a second motion already prepared.
Given the forged notary and the safety deposit box evidence, the court must refer this for criminal prosecution.
The judge granted it without hesitation. Cynthia clutched the defense table, her knuckles white. Within minutes, sheriff's deputies were escorting her down the courthouse steps.
This is a mistake. I am the victim. My own sister did this.
A news crew shoved a microphone forward. "Did you forge your mother's will?" a journalist yelled.
There she goes. The woman who forged a dying woman's signature, still shouting about being wronged.
Let them film. Let the whole world see what she is.
By the next morning, the arrest photo was everywhere. Cynthia's pearl necklace was askew, her mascara streaked. Inside the district attorney's office, the elder fraud unit slid Mark Reeves's deposition into the case jacket. He had already flipped. With the criminal referral in motion, the estate moved swiftly. 3 weeks later, the distribution papers waited on a conference table. Sophia signed her name as co-executor. Then she declined her share and asked for only one thing.
Mom, I don't need a penny of Mary's money, but I'd like to keep her wedding ring, if that's okay.
It's yours. She'd want you to have it. She wore this through everything. Now it's yours.
Laura opened a small velvet pouch and placed the ring in Sophia's palm. The gold band was thin, worn, and perfect.
A few grams of gold and a lifetime of love. This is the inheritance that mattered.
Sophia slid the ring onto her finger for a moment, then clutched it tight against her chest. Laura pulled her close.
This is what Mary wanted. Not for us to fight, but to hold on to what was real.
Then let's hold on. No more courts, no more lies. Just us and her ring.
Outside the courthouse, Sophia held her mother close, the ring secure in her pocket, and the weight of the world finally lifting. 2 months later, Cynthia's case appeared on the district court docket. The media had already moved on, but the district attorney had not.
Sophia, it's done. Mark's testimony sealed it. She pleaded guilty to a reduced charge, elder fraud and forgery.
A week later, Cynthia stood before the judge in an orange jumpsuit, her blonde hair pulled back, no pearls in sight. The sentence was 18 months, followed by 2 years of supervised release and full restitution to the estate.
18 months. She'll serve every day of it, and I still won't feel joy. Just stillness.
The local news ran a brief clip, her mugshot beside the headline, "Elder Fraud Scheme Unravels." Then it scrolled away.
She'll never apologize. She'll blame us from her cell. But the record is straight. Mary's ring is on my finger.
This is what accountability looks like. She took advantage of a dying woman, and the law answered.
Sophia glanced down at the ring on her hand, then closed the news tab. She didn't need to read anymore. The chapter was closed. Cynthia would serve her time, and Sophia could finally begin to remember Mary without the shadow of the fraud. The first Sunday after the sentencing, Sophia drove to Lakeview Cemetery alone, a single white rose on the passenger seat. She knelt before the headstone and traced Mary's name with her fingertip, the granite still cool from the morning.
I brought the ring, Grandma. It's home now. Right where you always wanted it to be.
She drew the gold band from her pocket and held it up to the afternoon light, its tiny diamonds flickering. Then she slipped it onto her finger, slow and deliberate, as if Mary were guiding her hand.
You gave me the truth before you lost your voice. You gave me the key. I just had to remember to look.
Laura appeared beside her, quietly, her hand resting on Sophia's shoulder like a blessing. They stood over the grave in silence, arms around each other, two women and a ring.
She won, Mom. Not Cynthia. Mary's love won. That's the only will that mattered.
They walked away, hand in hand, the ring warm on Sophia's finger, the cemetery silent in the afternoon sun. Once home, Sophia lifted her phone and stared at a photo she had taken at Sunridge. The hallway camera hung in the frame. She set the phone down beside Mary's smiling portrait, then carried both to the mantel.
This was the place she fought to protect. The cameras that saw everything now watch over her memory.
She arranged the photo and the velvet ring box side by side and lit the candle between them. Then she sank onto the window seat and cupped a warm mug of tea, the city lights beginning to glow.
You gave me the key before you gave me the ring. You trusted me to find the truth. I don't need the house or the money. I have the only inheritance that mattered.
She glanced at the mantel. The ring box caught the candlelight, steady and sure. The cameras had exposed the fraud, but Mary had already left the proof in a box only love could open. Outside her window, the world kept turning, but on this evening, Sophia simply let it be. The ring caught the candlelight as her phone buzzed against the window seat. Laura's name glowed on the screen.
Hey, Mom. I was just thinking about you.
I was thinking about you too, sweetheart. Do you want to come over for dinner tomorrow? Just the two of us.
I'd like that. No courts, no lawyers, just us and one of your pot roasts.
You always did love my cooking despite everything. I'll make extra carrots.
For a few seconds, neither spoke. Then Sophia heard her mother laugh, the first real laugh in months.
Remember when Grandma tried to teach me to bake and we set off the smoke alarm at Sunridge?
The nurses were so mad, but Mary just laughed from her bed. She said it smelled like home.
They laughed together, the sound filling the quiet apartment, filling the space Cynthia had tried to steal. Outside, Laura stood on her porch waving, as if Sophia could see her. The promise of dinner glowing like the porch light. 3 days before Mary died, the camera watched Cynthia guide a stranger toward room 117. The man scribbled David Miller in the log, but notary commission existed under that name. 2 years earlier, Mary had already deposited her true will in a safety deposit box at Independence Security. She left everything to Laura and her grandchildren, deliberately excluding the daughter who stayed away. The hospice room where they tried to forge a signature is now silent, the monitors dark, the bed stripped, but the security footage remains, time-stamped and undeniable, a silent witness to the fraud. Sophia's ring, Mary's wedding band, glows in the candlelight, a symbol of love that could not be taken. It is the only inheritance that matters, a promise kept, a truth preserved, a grandmother's fierce protection. 3 days before she died, the cameras saw everything, and so did Mary. Sophia looked once more at the photo on the mantel, at the ring box glowing softly beside it. The candle had burned low, wax pooling in the holder, but the flame still danced.
It's time to let the light rest.
She leaned forward and blew out the candle. A thin trail of smoke curled upward. The ring box remained, its tiny glint holding the light a second longer. Then the room settled into the quiet dark, and Sophia stayed on the window seat, watching the city lights replace the candle's glow.
Every story ends. But some truths stay lit even without a flame.
She traced the ring on her finger, the metal warm, a promise sealed long ago. The screen fades to black, leaving only the memory of the ring and the woman who wore it first, the last glint of gold, then silence,